Tired of overhyped games that don't live up to the hype? Let's flip the script. These are the real perfect 10 out of 10 games, the ones you absolutely need to play. But hey, before we dive in, if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more no-nonsense gaming lists like this. Let's jump in.
Stop him!
Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't just a game you play, it's a life you inhabit. You don't just ride across fields, you feel the weight of every hoofbeat, every gust of wind brushing through the plains. You don't just complete missions, you live out the final days of the dying Wild West through the eyes of Arthur Morgan, one of the most complex, layered, and heartbreakingly human protagonists ever put to screen. This world, it breathes. Animals hunt and flee, strangers cross your path with their own problems, and the Van der Linde gang unravels around you like a slow-burning tragedy. And somehow, amidst the shootouts and betrayals, the game finds space for silence, for watching a sunset over a quiet riverbank, or listening to the creak of your saddle as you ride alone, thinking about all the things Arthur can't say out loud. It's a story about loyalty, about identity, about the slow erosion of freedom. And when the credits finally roll, it doesn't feel like an ending. It feels like a goodbye. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a 10 out of 10, not because it gives you power, but because it gives you perspective. It reminds you that even outlaws dream of peace, and sometimes that's the most tragic part.
Witcher, so be it. Let us end this.
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 doesn't just tell a story, it weaves one, and you're tangled in it from the very first step. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter, a wanderer, a man caught between war, love, and destiny. But this isn't a tale of good versus evil. It's murky, morally gray, and painfully human. Every decision you make matters, not in a flashy, scripted way, but in quiet consequences that might not show up until hours later, when someone remembers what you did or didn't do. The world, alive. From the stormy shores of Skellige to the corruption of Novigrad, every village, every forest, every smuggler's cave feels real. It's not just set dressing, it's part of the story. The writing is razor sharp, the characters breathe, and the side quests, some are better written than most full games. Add in a sweeping, melancholic soundtrack and combat that balances grit with grace, and you've got something special. And then there's the expansions, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine, which aren't just add-ons, they're masterclasses in world building all their own. The Witcher 3 is a 10 out of 10 because it respects your time, your choices, and your intelligence. It doesn't hand you a fantasy, it makes you earn it. Elden Ring. Elden Ring doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't care about quest markers, tutorials, or giving you a neat little checklist. What it gives you instead is something far rarer: freedom. The kind that's overwhelming at first, terrifying even. But then you take that first step into Limgrave, and it clicks. The silence, the scope, the eerie beauty of a ruined world begging to be uncovered piece by piece. This isn't just Dark Souls with horses. This is something bigger. A brutal, mysterious, often poetic journey where every corner hides secrets, every death teaches you something, and every mountaintop, dungeon, and forgotten ruin feels like it was placed just for you to find. It's not about power fantasy, it's about earning your place. The storytelling is sparse but profound, hiding in item descriptions and cryptic dialogue, making you lean in and piece together a mythology that feels ancient and decayed. And then there's the bosses. Grotesque, magnificent, utterly unforgettable. From Software didn't just build a game, they built a world. One you can get lost in for hours without even touching the main quest. Elden Ring is a 10 out of 10 not just because it's massive, or gorgeous, or brutally satisfying, but because it trusts you to find your own way and rewards you for doing so with awe, fear, and wonder. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild doesn't start with a bang. It starts with silence. Just Link, waking up in a forgotten cave, stepping out into a world that's moved on without him. And somehow, that quiet, that emptiness, is where the magic begins. This isn't just another Zelda, it's a reimagining of what exploration can feel like. There's no blinking dot on the map telling you where to go, no walls boxing you in. If you see a mountain in the distance, you can climb it. If you see a thunderstorm rolling in, you have to adapt. The world is alive, really alive. Wind carries fire, rain makes cliffs slippery. Enemies don't wait politely, they hunt. And through it all, there's a constant feeling of gentle wonder. Maybe it's the minimalist soundtrack that swells just when it needs to. Maybe it's the simple joy of gliding over a valley or cooking something weird just to see what happens. Or maybe it's the way this game trusts you, truly trusts you, to explore at your own pace, to stumble into chaos or serenity or something in between. Breath of the Wild is a 10 out of 10 because it remembers something most games forget: the power of curiosity. It doesn't push you forward. It whispers, "Go see what's over that hill," and then steps aside. And somehow, that's all you need. Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 isn't just one of the best RPGs ever made. It's proof that video games can rival the depth and creativity of tabletop storytelling. From the very first scene, when you wake up with a mind flayer parasite crawling behind your eyes, the game throws you into a world of gods, demons, warlocks, vampires, and consequences. Real ones. Every dialogue choice, every failed dice roll, every decision you make, big or small, ripples outward. You're not on rails here. You can be the hero, the monster, the manipulator, the fool, or something wildly in between. And the cast? Forgettable NPCs don't exist here. Every companion, from Shadowheart to Asterion, has depth, mystery, and a beating heart that responds to how you treat them. The writing? Sharper than ever. And the voice acting breathes real soul into every interaction. You can spend hours talking to a rat, or sneak through an entire enemy camp, or accidentally blow it all up with one bad fireball. That's the magic. Baldur's Gate 3 is a 10 out of 10, not because it's flawless, but because it gives you control, not just over your character, but over the story itself. It's messy, it's wild, it's deeply human, and it's everything RPG lovers have ever wanted finally done right. God of War 2018. This isn't just a game, it's a thunderous rebirth. A once raging god now learning how to be a father. Kratos returns, older, haunted, and wielding an axe so satisfying it feels like Thor's hammer borrowed a brain. But beneath the bloodshed lies something unexpected. Heart. Set in a brutal, snow-drenched Norse world, every step feels weighty, every enemy personal. You don't just slash through monsters, you grow through them. Atreus, your son, isn't just tagging along, he's the soul of the story, and watching their bond evolve hits harder than any boss fight. The camera never cuts, the pace never drags, and the emotion, it never fakes. From combat to quiet boat rides, everything feels handcrafted to perfection. God of War isn't just a 10 out of 10, it's a masterclass in storytelling, mechanics, and myth made modern. Miss it, and you miss a milestone.
Man. Hey, good job with all the, killing and stuff.
The Last of Us. This isn't just a game, it's a gut punch wrapped in silence, soaked in dread, and stitched together with some of the most human moments ever put in pixels. You play as Joel, a broken man with nothing left, until a teenage girl named Ellie walks into his life and wrecks his emotional walls brick by brick. Set in a post-pandemic America, nature has reclaimed the cities and humanity is barely holding on. But forget the infected. The real danger? People. Desperate, savage, and too far gone.
He's in here!
Combat is tense, dirty, and intimate. Every bullet matters. Every swing of a pipe feels like survival. But it's not the fights you'll remember, it's the quiet talks, the tragic flashbacks, the way Ellie hums when she's bored. This is storytelling at its peak. Voice acting that hurts, a world that feels lived in, a finale that still splits the internet a decade later. The Last of Us doesn't just earn a 10 out of 10, it leaves it scarred on your heart. Bloodborne. Welcome to Yharnam, a cursed city soaked in blood, riddled with secrets, and begging you to die. Again, and again, and again. But each death sharpens your skill, feeds your obsession, and drags you deeper into its madness. You came here for a cure. But the real disease? Curiosity. You are the hunter, armed with a transforming saw blade and a flintlock, dancing through battles like a Victorian executioner with style. No shields, no time to breathe, just dodge, parry, strike, or get torn apart by beasts that scream like nightmares made flesh. The world design? Genius. Twisting alleys loop back on themselves like some sinister puzzle box. Lore isn't handed to you. It bleeds from item descriptions, whispers in dialogue, and the twitch of a boss's hand. Bloodborne isn't just a game, it's a descent into horror, into mystery, into obsession. And once it has you, it doesn't let go. A perfect 10 out of 10? No. It's a fever dream with a score carved into your bones. Sekiro's shadows die twice. Forget hacking and slashing, Sekiro demands perfection. You are Wolf, a one-armed shinobi bound to protect a young lord in a twisted version of Sengoku-era Japan, where myth and mortality collide under the blood-red moon. Combat here? It's a deadly ballet of steel and timing. Every enemy is a duel. Every boss, a wall of fire you learn to walk through. No RPG crutches, no farming, just your reflexes, your sword, and your stubborn will to overcome. And when you finally break through, when Genichiro hits the floor after hours of pain, the euphoria is real. The game doesn't reward you with loot, it rewards you with mastery. The world is hauntingly beautiful. Temples buried in mist, castles aflame, serpents sleeping in valleys. Every corner feels like it was painted with ash and honor. Sekiro isn't just a 10 out of 10, it's a rite of passage. If you endure, it marks you as a warrior. Cyberpunk 2077. Night City doesn't care about you, and that's exactly why you'll never want to leave. You're V, a merc trying to climb the chrome-coated food chain. Problem is, you've got a dead rockstar terrorist named Johnny Silverhand living rent-free in your brain, and he's not exactly subtle. This game is messy, beautiful, and alive. The city pulses with life. Neon lights bounce off bloodstained sidewalks, corpo towers pierce polluted skies. And under all that metal, people still dream, suffer, fight, and fall. Gunplay's tight, hacking is slick, and you can solve problems with a katana, a sniper, or just your silver tongue. But it's not about the tools, it's about the freedom, the choices that echo, the regrets that sting. And Johnny, voiced by Keanu Reeves, he's not your sidekick, he's your mirror. A reminder that in a city full of chrome, the soul still burns. Cyberpunk 2077 didn't just redeem itself, it transformed. Now, it's not just a 10 out of 10, it's an unforgettable digital rebellion.
Come on then!
The pillory's too good for
Fuck
you.
you!
I'll chop you up on the spot.
Show what you're doing!
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 doesn't just pick up where the first game left off, it surges forward, doubling its world and its ambition. Set in 1403 Bohemia, you're once again Henry, a humble blacksmith thrust into the chaos of civil war. The stakes are higher, the choices feel weightier, and the world, wow, the world breathes. From snow-capped villages to the bustling streets of Kuttenberg, every stone, every face, every whispered rumor evokes a living, breathing medieval Europe. Combat and systems have been refined. Swordplay feels sharp and visceral, hunting and blacksmithing are deeper, and your decisions, whether as a knight, a rogue, or a scholar, shape not just your fate, but entire regions. Critics are calling it a stunning evolution of the genre, noting its cinematic narrative and unmatched historical authenticity. Even after years, this sequel feels fresh and full of purpose. And for all that polish and polish, it still knows how to surprise. One moment you're forging weapons by the fire, the next you're caught in a brutal siege or navigating political intrigue that changes Henry's very identity. No wonder it sold over 1 million copies in a single day and 2 million in just 2 weeks, including praise as one of the standout RPGs of 2025.
What the? Come on then!
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 isn't about dragons or prophecies, it's about you in a world that feels real, flawed, and deeply human. If you crave an RPG that trusts you to live its story, dive in. It's a perfect 10 out of 10 for anyone who believes games can be worlds, not just stories.
Alright. See? I got it! Ah, crap! These guys don't give up. Okay, through here. Oh, stop!
Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Nathan Drake is done with danger, retired, married, living the quiet life, until his long-lost brother shows up with a smile, a story, and a whole lot of trouble. And just like that, Nate's back, chasing pirate treasure across jungles, catacombs, and collapsing towers like it's a paid vacation. This isn't just a treasure hunt, it's closure. The banter's gold, the pacing's perfect, and the emotional beats land harder than a collapsing bell tower. Every moment, from high-speed jeep chases to rooftop parkour in Italy, oozes Naughty Dog's signature polish. Combat is tight and cinematic. Puzzles feel natural, and the quiet scenes, they speak louder than explosions. That attic level alone, masterpiece. Visually, it's jaw-dropping. From Madagascar's sun-scorched cliffs to Libertalia's forgotten ruins, this game makes you want to pause and just exist in it.
Hi there! My turn!
Uncharted 4 isn't just the end of a thief's journey, it's the crown jewel of a legendary series. A 10 out of 10 farewell. That hits every note. Dark Souls Remastered. Dark Souls Remastered isn't just about difficulty, it's about discovery, about silence, about staring down a monster 10 times your size and saying, "Let's go." This game doesn't care how good you are, how fast you level up, or how many guides you've read. It teaches through failure. It shapes you through defeat. And when you finally succeed, when you beat Ornstein and Smough or ring that second bell, it's not just relief, it's earned triumph. There's a weight to the world of Lordran, not just in its atmosphere, but in its history. The lore is whispered through item descriptions and broken statues, not cutscenes. It never holds your hand, but it always respects your curiosity. And that's where the brilliance lies. The more you dig, the more this quiet, rotting kingdom begins to speak. The remaster smooths the rough edges, polishes the frame rate, but keeps the soul intact, untouched, and still as haunting as ever. This isn't a power fantasy. It's a meditation on persistence, loss, and the beauty hidden in ruin. Dark Souls Remastered remains a 10 out of 10 because it redefined what video games could be, not just as entertainment, but as experience. And once you've walked through Lordran, you never see games the same way again. Black Myth Wukong. Step into a world where ancient Chinese mythology isn't just told, it's unleashed. You are the Destined One, a mysterious figure taking on the mantle of the Monkey King, fighting through a land cursed by gods, demons, and the weight of prophecy. Combat is poetry in motion. Every strike flows like a river, until it crashes like thunder. You'll wield a shape-shifting staff, transform into beasts mid-battle, and face foes so grotesquely beautiful they feel ripped straight from folklore nightmares. This isn't just Souls-like, it's soul-infused. The world is dense, dreamlike, and dangerous. Forests whisper, mountains loom, bosses taunt, and underneath it all, a haunting story about identity, duty, and power. What truly sets it apart? The sheer style. The visuals hit like concept art come alive. Animations are unreal. And the audio design, you feel every growl, clang, and chant in your bones. Black Myth. Wukong doesn't just honor myth, it elevates it. A 10 out of 10 experience born of legends, built for warriors. Ghost of Tsushima. The Mongols have invaded. Your people are slaughtered. Your code? Cracking. You are Jin Sakai, last of your clan forged in tradition, but forced to become something new. The Ghost. Set on the breathtaking island of Tsushima, this world is the art. Bamboo forests sway as you draw your blade in one perfect motion. Every duel feels like a scene from an old Kurosawa film. Tense, poetic, and lethal. Combat? Sharp, responsive, stylish. You can fight with honor in open combat or strike from the shadows like a silent storm. Either way, every kill weighs on Jin, and on you. The story cuts deep. Family, loss, legacy, and sacrifice. And through it all, that one question. Is honor worth more than freedom? Ghost of Tsushima doesn't just earn a 10 out of 10, it whispers it through steel and silence. A masterpiece carved in wind and blood.
Territory is ours now.
Not today. Spider-Man! Tell the boss is here!
Marvel's Spider-Man. This isn't Peter Parker's origin story. It's what comes after. 8 years into being Spider-Man, he's got the web tricks, the quips, and the skyline down cold. But his personal life? Crumbling fast. And when a new threat rises from the shadows, Peter's pushed to his absolute limit, as a hero and as a human. Swinging through New York? Unmatched. It's not traversal, it's ballet with momentum. Each flip, zip, and dive feels right. You'll chase helicopters, stop carjackings mid-swing, and land with that signature superhero thud that never gets old. Combat flows like Arkham on adrenaline. You're flipping, dodging, web-yanking rockets out of the air, and smiling while doing it. And the suit upgrades? Chef's kiss. But what makes this a 10 out of 10 isn't just the action, it's the heart. The scenes with Aunt May, the journal entries, that ending. It hits harder than any supervillain's punch. Marvel's Spider-Man doesn't just let you be Spidey, it lets you feel him. Every high, every fall, every choice. Lies of P. At first, Lies of P looks like another Souls-like, beautiful yes, but derivative. And then it hooks you. Slowly, quietly, it starts to show its hand. This isn't just a reskin of Bloodborne. It's a dark fairy tale drenched in sorrow, tragedy, and surprising tenderness. You play as P, a puppet who looks more human than most people in this nightmare of a city, and the deeper you go, the more your choices begin to twist the world around you. The combat? Tight, punishing, and stylish. Every dodge, parry, and weapon swap feels weighty and deliberate. It doesn't just mimic the best of the genre, it refines it. But what really elevates Lies of P is its soul. The eerie, steampunk beauty of Krat feels both gothic and mechanical, like a dream half remembered. The characters, broken, desperate, mysterious, aren't just set pieces, they matter. And that central theme of lying versus truth, of what it means to be real, hits harder than you'd ever expect from a game inspired by Pinocchio. It's poetic, tragic, and strangely hopeful. Lies of P is a 10 out of 10 because it dares to feel, and in doing so, it carves out its own place among giants. Not a copy, but a successor.
Come on, come on!
Horizon Forbidden West. It's not just beautiful, it's staggering. Horizon Forbidden West doesn't just raise the bar, it yeets it into orbit. This is the kind of open-world game where you'll stop mid-mission just to stare at the sun cutting through redwoods or a sandstorm rolling over robot-infested ruins. But it's not just eye candy, the combat, it's orchestra-level choreography. You're not just swinging a spear, you're calculating every shot, every elemental weakness, every slow-mo moment. Fighting a Tremortusk feels like battling a mechanical god, and winning feels like you deserve a slow clap. And Aloy? She's not your typical Chosen One protagonist. She questions everything. She carries the weight of a broken world and doesn't pretend to have all the answers. There's nuance, doubt, growth.
What's going on?
How many of you are there?
Wait! We didn't mean to trespass. We fell here by accident. We'll leave if you show us how.
Lies.
I swear. I don't know what—
A Plague Tale Requiem. A Plague Tale Requiem doesn't need to be loud to break your heart. It whispers it, scene by scene, moment by moment, through a world where beauty and horror walk side by side. You play as Amicia, a sister, a fighter, a protector slowly unraveling under the weight of what it takes to keep her little brother Hugo alive. And Hugo, he's not just a child, he's a curse, a miracle, a tragedy waiting to happen. This sequel expands everything the original did right. Bigger set pieces, deeper emotional stakes, and visuals that are honestly jaw-dropping. But it's not just the graphics, it's the direction, the framing, the colors, the way the game pauses to let you feel a moment before it rips it away. You're not just sneaking past guards or navigating seas of rats, you're carrying the weight of a family breaking apart under a world that never gave them a chance. And that soundtrack, that haunting, aching music that follows you like a memory you can't shake.
You'll exhaust our villain.
This is your tower. It's evil.
Doesn't he ever get tired? I really should get back to studying.
Requiem is a 10 out of 10, not because it's perfect, but because it dares to be intimate, to be emotional, to slow down and say, this is what loss looks like. It's devastating, stunning, and absolutely unforgettable.
Or losers. Making mistakes.
I'm not falling for your mind games.
Resident Evil 4 Remake. There are remakes, and then there's Resident Evil 4 Remake, a masterclass in how to resurrect a legend without losing its soul. Capcom didn't just slap a new coat of paint on a 2005 classic, they rebuilt it from the ground up, preserving every ounce of tension, grit, and adrenaline, while making it feel like something entirely new. The pacing is razor sharp. Every corridor, every encounter feels deliberately crafted to keep you on edge. And Leon? Still the same quip-dropping badass, only this time he moves like a man who's been through hell and is done messing around. The combat is punchy, weighty, and just the right amount of chaotic. Atmospherically, it's off the charts. The lighting, the sound design, the way the village breathes around you, it's pure horror cinema. Except you're in it.
I'm not surprised you made it this far.
Resident Evil 4. Remake doesn't just respect the original, it elevates it. Whether you're a die-hard fan or jumping in blind, this game grabs you by the throat and doesn't let go until the credits roll. Easily one of the finest remakes ever made. And yes, a perfect 10 out of 10 experience.
Went missing here in the past month. Something happened to him.
My money's on slavers. The Terminus system is crawling with them.
Picking up something on the long-range scanner. Unidentified vessel. Looks like a cruiser.
Mass Effect 2. If there's one game that makes you feel like the commander of your own damn movie, it's Mass Effect 2. This isn't just a sci-fi RPG, it's a galactic opera where every choice matters, and every character feels like someone you actually care about. From the moment that haunting piano riff kicks in on the title screen, you know you're stepping into something special. The stakes are sky high. You're building a team for a suicide mission, and the game means it. Every loyalty mission, every conversation, every small decision you make ripples out and decides who lives, who dies, and who follows you into the abyss. The writing? Some of the best in gaming, period. The loyalty missions alone are emotional gut punches, and by the time you reach the final act, you're not just fighting for survival, you're fighting for them. The squad, the bonds, the trust. And with one of the most unforgettable final missions in gaming history, Mass Effect 2 doesn't just ask you to make choices, it makes you feel the weight of every one. It's tight, stylish, and effortlessly cool, yet emotionally devastating when it needs to be. This game didn't just raise the bar for RPGs, it built a whole new one. A perfect 10 out of 10? Absolutely. And one of the greatest sci-fi experiences ever put on a screen.
Download complete.
NieR Automata. At first glance, NieR Automata looks like a stylish action game with androids and flashy swordplay, and it is that. But blink and you'll miss what it really is, a haunting, philosophical exploration of what it means to be alive, to have purpose, and to keep going even when everything feels meaningless. Beneath the slick Platinum Games combat and that surreal post-apocalyptic world, there's a story that slowly unravels like a poem written by someone who's seen too much. You don't just play as 2B or 9S, you become them. You feel their confusion, their sorrow, their rage. And just when you think the story's done, the game turns around and whispers, "You're not even close." Multiple playthroughs aren't a gimmick here. They're essential to understanding the full emotional weight of what's happening. The soundtrack? Ethereal, painfully beautiful. The kind of music that lingers with you long after the controller's been set down. By the end, you're not just fighting machines, you're wrestling with guilt, identity, sacrifice, and the absurdity of existence. And NieR Automata doesn't just entertain, it challenges you, breaks you, and somehow, after all the devastation, it offers something no one expects from a game like this: hope. A messy, fragile kind of hope. "10 out of 10. Not just for how it plays, but for how deeply it makes you feel. Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight doesn't yell for your attention, it whispers, and somehow that whisper stays with you long after the game is over. This isn't just an indie Metroidvania, it's a quiet, haunting journey into a fallen kingdom that feels both empty and alive at the same time. Hallownest is decaying, broken, forgotten, but beautiful. Every corner hides secrets, and every silence feels intentional. The hand-drawn art? Mesmerizing. The music? Subtle and mournful, like it's mourning something you haven't discovered yet. And the gameplay? Oh man, it's tight. Smooth movement, razor-sharp combat, and boss fights that demand your full focus but never feel unfair. And the best part? The game trusts you. It doesn't spoon-feed you lore or direction. It lets you explore, lets you get lost, lets you feel lost. And that makes every victory, every new area, every hidden character feel like something you earned through sheer will. And just when you think you've seen it all, you realize there's an entire other layer hidden beneath everything. Deeper lore, hidden endings, optional nightmares you weren't ready for. Hollow Knight is elegance through restraint, a 10 out of 10 not because it shouts about how good it is, but because it quietly becomes one of the most unforgettable games you'll ever play.
Batman in sight.
Batman Arkham City. If you've ever wanted to feel like Batman, not just wear the cowl, but truly become him, Arkham City is the game that delivers. It's not just a step up from Arkham Asylum, it's a full-on dive into the underbelly of Gotham. Gritty, sprawling, and dripping with atmosphere. Every alley tells a story. Every rooftop feels like a vantage point to something darker. The combat is still some of the most fluid and satisfying ever designed. It's rhythmic, brutal, and instinctive. You don't button mash, you flow like a shadow with fists. But what makes this game unforgettable isn't just the mechanics, it's the soul. The writing is sharp, the voice acting flawless, and the narrative deeply personal. Joker isn't just a villain here, he's a tragedy unraveling in real time. And that ending? No spoilers, but if you know, you know.
You're not going to reach the Joker. I will stop you.
It hits harder than anyone expected from a superhero game. The side quests, the iconic rogues gallery, the sheer freedom of gliding across the city under a moonlit sky, Arkham City is more than a game. It's a living, breathing comic book brought to life in the most faithful and cinematic way possible. A 10 out of 10 not just for Batman fans, but for anyone who wants to experience a masterclass in world design, storytelling, and power fantasy done right. Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 doesn't hold your hand. It throws you into the fire and dares you to crawl out stronger. It's not just about brutal difficulty or dying 1,000 times, it's about what you learn through the pain. Every boss fight is a lesson. Every shortcut found is a quiet triumph. And when you finally conquer something you once thought impossible, the feeling isn't just relief, it's something close to transcendence. But beneath all the blood and bone, Dark Souls 3 is weirdly beautiful. The world is decaying, collapsing in on itself, yet somehow more alive than most games with twice the color. From the haunted majesty of Lothric Castle to the melancholy quiet of the untended graves, the art direction bleeds despair, and yet you can't look away. The lore isn't handed to you, you uncover it, piece by mysterious piece, like a shattered myth waiting to be reassembled. The music? It doesn't just set the tone, it becomes the tone. And when that final boss theme hits, after everything you've been through, it's not just epic, it's personal. Dark Souls 3 isn't for everyone, but for those who connect with it, it's unforgettable. A true 10 out of 10, not because it's perfect, but because it doesn't need to be. It's about perseverance, ruin, and the strange beauty found in endings. Death Stranding. There's no game quite like Death Stranding. It's not trying to entertain you in the traditional sense, it's trying to say something about isolation, about connection. about walking through the wreckage of a broken world with nothing but your own footsteps to keep you company. At its core, it's a game about delivering packages. And yeah, that sounds boring. Until it isn't. Until you realize how carefully you're planning every climb, every descent, every weather pattern. Until that quiet moment alone on a mountain ridge when the music fades in, and it hits you how beautiful and strangely emotional this world is. Kojima didn't make a game for everyone. He made his game. Unapologetically weird, unpredictably emotional, carried by phenomenal performances, especially from Norman Reedus, and backed by one of the most unique soundtracks in modern gaming. And somehow, despite all the absurdity, the BBs, the Timefall rain, the ghosts and tar, it works, because it's not about shooting, it's about rebuilding. One bridge, one outpost, one shared road at a time. Death Stranding is a 10 out of 10 not because it checks the usual boxes, but because it tears the list up and writes a new one. A game about loneliness that brings people together in ways no one saw coming. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. The Phantom Pain isn't just a stealth game, it's a sandbox of systems that somehow work together in perfect, chaotic harmony. You're dropped into Afghanistan or Africa with a mission, a horse, a cigar, and the kind of freedom most games only dream of. You can snipe from a mile out, sneak through the grass with tranquilizers, or ride in guns blazing on a helicopter blasting the man who sold the world. And somehow, it all works. The gameplay is so refined, so tactile that even after hundreds of hours, it still surprises you. But beneath the flawless mechanics and Kojima's signature absurdity, cardboard boxes, balloon extractions, and nuclear deterrence politics, there's a quiet ache running through it all. This is a story about identity, betrayal, and the cost of legacy. It doesn't spell things out. In fact, it withholds. And yet, the emotional weight hits, especially when the cassette tapes start playing, or when you realize what you've become by the end. It's messy, it's unfinished, it's genius. And despite the controversies and missing pieces, it delivers a gameplay experience so polished and addicting, it feels surgical. Metal Gear Solid 5 may not be the most conventional 10 out of 10, but it's one of the most fascinating. A game where freedom isn't just a mechanic, it's the point. Demon's Souls Remake. Before Elden Ring conquered the world, before Dark Souls became a genre unto itself, there was Demon's Souls, the original test of patience, precision, and quiet obsession. And in its remake, Bluepoint didn't just bring it back, they glorified it. Every stone hallway, every fog-covered boss arena is dripping with atmosphere, remade in staggering detail that makes you stop mid-run just to stare. But don't let the beauty fool you. This world is hostile, cold, almost indifferent to your suffering. The combat is slow, methodical, and brutally honest. A perfect reminder that every swing matters and every mistake hurts. It's a game that dares you to learn, punishes you when you don't, and rewards you with the most satisfying victories you'll ever earn. And the sound design? Chilling. Minimalist. Every clang of armor, every growl in the shadows feels carved into your nerves. It's lonely, eerie, and strangely peaceful in its quiet dread. This remake doesn't just preserve the soul of the original, it elevates it to modern perfection, without compromising what made it sacred. Demon's Souls Remake is a 10 out of 10 for what it represents. The rebirth of a legend, reforged for a new generation. Just as punishing, just as beautiful, and just as unforgettable.
And now we no two others could fight against the clock. I've waited for this. Let's see if the outsider will save your life.
Dishonored. Dishonored doesn't shout, it whispers. It pulls you into a plague-ridden world of grime, shadows, and twisted loyalty, and then hands you a blade and says, do what you think is right. You're Corvo, royal protector turned fugitive assassin. But the game never forces you to be a monster. It simply gives you the tools: teleportation, possession, time manipulation, and a knife sharp enough to change the fate of an empire. What you do with those powers, that's where the magic happens. You can ghost your way through Dunwall without spilling a drop of blood, or leave a trail of chaos so brutal the city literally rots around you. And either way, the world responds. Every choice leaves fingerprints. In the environment, in the characters, in the tone of the ending. But it's not just the gameplay that's genius, it's the atmosphere. Dunwall feels alive in its decay, a broken city sketched out in oil paintings, whale oil, and whispered rumors. The art direction is painterly, eerie, and totally its own. The level design? Almost surgical. Open-ended puzzles where you decide what the solution looks like.
But I'm not going to give you the privilege. I was born into nothing, and it's nothing I'll return to.
Dishonored is the kind of game that trusts you to find your own story within its quiet brilliance. A 10 out of 10 not because it demands your attention, but because it earns it in every shadowed corner and moral dilemma.
Gonna split your belly like a
The Elder Scrolls V. Skyrim. Skyrim isn't just a game, it's a place, a state of mind, the kind of world you step into for just one quest, and emerge from 5 hours later having accidentally joined a guild, slain a dragon, adopted a child, and shouted someone off a mountain. It's the ultimate sandbox fantasy, and somehow, over a decade later, it still holds up. Why? Because it doesn't rush you. It invites you to slow down, to get lost in the snow-covered forests, stumble upon a cave that was never marked on your map, or follow a trail of blood to a secret Daedric shrine. The magic isn't just in the quests, it's in the moments between them, in the way the northern lights stretch across the sky, in the clink of steel and spell echoing through a forgotten ruin, in that quiet realization that you decide who your Dragonborn is, a hero, a thief, a wandering alchemist with no agenda but curiosity. And yeah, it's janky, it's buggy, but we loved it anyway, because few games have captured a sense of freedom so completely. Skyrim isn't perfect, but somehow it's a perfect 10 out of 10, because it gave us something no patch or remaster could ever improve, a world we still dream about. And there you have it, some of the finest games ever made, each one a perfect 10 in its own unforgettable way. These aren't just games you play, they're experiences that stick with you long after you put down the controller. If you've played any of these gems, drop your favorite moment in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. And if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a list like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.